All right, guys, moving along. Biggest concerns entering this Bulls 23-24 season. I can answer my answer in 4 syllables. Y'all know.
Okay.
3-point shooting. Dave?
Mine also for free throw shooting.
Hey!
That is my concern. I want them to get to the line more. They have to get there if you're trying to be a winning team. It's about free points. You don't turn down free, all right? I don't care what you're doing. Free is awesome, all right? Use free points. They have to get to the stripe. DeMar DeRozan's going to do it. We know. Zach LaVine, I think, will do it more this season. I think he'll start getting more calls.
He'll need to.
Yes. But guys like Kobe White, I want to see get there. Patrick Williams, I want to see get there. And maybe someone off the bench. It could be Caruso. It could be DeSumo, whoever. It could be Torrey Craig. It could be Javon Carter. But somebody else has to get to the line, man, because the free throw shooting kept them out of a lot of games. The three-point shooting damn sure did, but not getting free points and getting those opportunities for free points is detrimental to your team.
I think Mark and I have a pretty similar one here, but I'll go first and just say that, like, this idea of getting to the free throw line more, shooting more threes, attacking the offensive glass, playing through the paint, all these things that they're trying to fundamentally change about who they are as a team, specifically on the offensive end. What happens when they face some adversity? I'm working on a story right now, so I'll give a quick teaser of that. But I had a long conversation with Billy Donovan about this today. And he, one of the things he said was like, it sounds great to have this plan on paper, but like once you get out there, do you stay committed to it?
Everybody's got a plan so they get punched in the mouth.
Exactly. Can you stay bought into the things that they're trying to do? Because I think they have an idea of what it will take to win basketball games this year. We've heard it all training camp, all preseason. Zach, DeMar, Vooch all had some of the best years of their career last year, and yet the Bulls are 24th in offense.
Facts.
They have a plan to adjust the way that they play offense to improve their three-point shooting, to get to the rim more, to get fouls more, and to offensive rebound more. Can they stay committed to that even if things aren't working, even if those threes aren't going in, even if they can't get the offensive rebounds that they're going for, even if it costs them points on transition on the other end? Can they stay committed to that? Because if not, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be the same thing as last year because you got all the same personnel, and if they revert back to their old ways, that's a result.
Yeah, and connected to that point, like trying to fundamentally change who you are on offense during what I consider at least to be the most difficult 20 to 25 game stretch of this season for the Bulls, and it coming straight out of them out of the gate. Like, that's tough. Like, trying to change who you are is hard regardless, but trying to do that against competition that you need to beat to establish yourself, like the way we sort of spoke about before. We need to see them be a seeded playoff team. They've got some tough games coming up in this opening, few months of the season. So they almost need to get together and get to that point of who they are very quickly, because they're going to be found out very quickly if they're not on the same page on offense or even defense. Like, my concern has been that the focus has been so much on offense that are they going to relent something on defense, and are they going to relent too much? And is the counterbalance of that going to be problematic? So trying to work out now with the same personnel that you've had over the last two or so years, how can we be different as a team whilst coming up against teams who know who they are in the early part of the season? Like, it is a bit risky. So whilst I feel confident that they should beat like the likes of the Toronto Raptors, or they've got games coming up in the first week or so against the Indiana Pacers or the Dallas Mavericks, teams who the Bulls potentially should be better than. Those teams kind of know who they are in some regards. They're not necessarily trying to change anything fundamental about who they are, whereas the Bulls are. And if they can't necessarily get it together in their first opening games, do they pick up a few L's when they shouldn't be? And what does that do to the flow-on effect of the record? And does it all start cascading and building on from there? And to Will's point about adversity, like this hasn't been a team that has really gotten through a lot of adverse situations. So I'm a bit concerned about that.
Let me ask you a question, because you brought up the schedule. Do you think we should judge the Bulls on these first 20 games when is it the 9th hardest schedule that they have in the league?
I can look it up.
I can't remember if it's 9th or the 5th hardest schedule that they have, or do you more so want to judge them after those 20 games when their schedule's much, much easier? Like, which way do we judge the Bulls?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Dave. Like, I think we should be judging them on how they respond to the 20 to 25 games. Okay, maybe you come out of that period with a less than 500 record, which that would be my expectation. But how do they respond to that? So to your point, like maybe the following 10 games, maybe they get it together and they correct things and they right the ship, so to speak. But if I see some sort of like body language with those first 20 to 25 games does some damage to this team, there's already that inbuilt pressure of everyone feeling like this is their last go around. Pat's got that pressure of the extension looming, that he wants to obviously play good to make the money that he wants to make. If all of this external factors come into the team and starts, really negatively starting to affect them, do we start seeing it from a body language point of view? Do we start, like Will said, do we start seeing reverting back to the ISO stuff? Do we start to see those storylines of Zach and DeMar, not being on the same page? Does Vooch get upset about his role? Like those sorts of things, like body language stuff, I guess, the stuff that you can't necessarily quantify. If we see that after the first 20 or 25 games, I'm concerned. But if they're getting through that first 20 to 25 games and it's a losing record still, but they're saying the right things, they're doing the right things, they're playing the right way, they're doing it the right way, then to your point, maybe it's a different story.
Brandon E. in the comments said, in his opinion, biggest issue will be late game execution on both sides.
Yeah.
Shooting threes doesn't mean anything if in a close game you're making mistakes, hence our 40-42 record last year. Brandon E., appreciate you tuning in, buddy. Why don't you do me a favor, and in those 42 losses,
I'm scared.
You go check how many Bulls threes were made and attempted compared to the threes that were made and attempted by their opponents, and then circle back to me.
We all silly like the mayor.